The United States may have just smacked out China's biggest bargaining chip with Saudi Arabia. And that bargaining chip that China was dangling in front of the Saudis for a long time was nuclear energy, because Saudi Arabia wants to be a mainly renewable country and they just want to export all of their oil. It's also true that Saudi Arabia gets a lot of its revenue from China, since China is their largest customer when it comes to purchasing oil. And right now, Saudi Arabia is pretty angry at Russia since they overtook them as China's largest oil supplier. But just thinking of Saudi Arabia in terms of oil is very limited, since that country does have a lot of money and other resources for diversification. Some of this post will contradict what I said yesterday about Saudi Arabia being able to leverage both China and the United States to get what they want, but it looks like the United States has out-leveraged China, at least when it comes to this nuclear energy. In fact, Saudi Arabia wants to become a renewable energy hub in the coming decades. They want to export more than just oil. They also want to export the energy that is produced by nuclear power, wind power, and geothermal. You may be asking, well, why do the Saudis want to pursue nuclear energy first ahead of the other forms of renewable energy? And I can tell you the very simple answer is nuclear energy is the cheapest and most efficient form of renewables. There's no question. Once Saudi Arabia has enough nuclear power plants to meet their own energy needs or to be able to export it to other countries, then they are no longer beholden to the price of oil to keep their economy strong. They'll have two huge sources of energy income. Like I said before, China was the only country that was able to offer this to the Saudis, but no longer. The United States offered something similar to Saudi Arabia, but only on the condition that they normalize relationships with a certain other country in the Middle East that is causing a lot of controversy. I can't even say the name of that country without being censored on this app, which pretty much means that the entire West was going to cut Saudi Arabia out of nuclear energy development. Last week, our current administration said that they are dropping that demand for normalization, and they're just going to start paving this road together. So along with the $142 billion that the Saudis are going to buy from the United States and the total $600 billion to $1 trillion deal of investment between these two countries, it looks like they are going to be much closer than previously thought. Of course, China's not very happy about this, and now the only leverage they could possibly wage against the Saudis is maybe not buying as much of their oil. But that might have little to no effect on Saudi Arabia for the sheer fact that oil is becoming so much cheaper since OPEC decided to increase production. When oil starts to get that cheap, that means Russia might start losing some of its market share in China. Even though Russian oil may be cheaper, like its main export, Urals crude oil, it is poor quality. It is generally a medium sour crude, while the quality of Saudi Arabian oil is much higher than Russia, since theirs is light sweet crude. So it doesn't even matter if Russian oil becomes cheaper if the higher quality oil also starts dropping in price. And the quality of oil is very important, because it doesn't matter how cheap some oil is if it's much more expensive to refine. Last but not least, I want to conclude this with mentioning how the United States is bringing Saudi Arabia up to speed in the AI race. So the United States is not only bringing Saudi Arabia into a civil nuclear deal, something that they want intensely, they are also allowing them access to a lot of semiconductors and other AI-related material to get them more into the 21st or even the 22nd century. Now, what we should all be paying attention to in the coming weeks, in the coming months, is what will China offer Saudi Arabia to counter what the US has been proposing? I am the Geo Hussar. It doesn't matter how you feel about our current president. I didn't vote for the guy, but it looks like he worked on something very productive in the Middle East. Thanks for watching.